Thank you all for coming back. Council, are we ready to continue our proceedings?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we are ready to proceed. Mr. Osher, could you kindly bring in the witness, please?
Thank you.
Welcome back, Mr. Jatta.
Thank you very much, Counsel.
Are you ready to proceed with your testimony?
I am, sir.
Before the break, you are talking about the execution of 7 individuals, being Daba Marena, Manlafikor, Ibulo, Alfaba, Aliou Cissé, a lady called Julia, and Mercy Jame. Do you recall that?
Correct.
Do you remember hearing what the government had to say about the fate of Daba Marena, Ibulo, Alfaba, Manlafikor, and Aliou Cissé?
I recall this information that they were being escorted by some, I don't know, police or prison officers to Janjambure, but they escaped. I listened to this on the news. Unfortunately, the man I was listening to this news on that day together is late just some 1 week or 2 weeks back, but he would have been here to, attest to this fact that I said it to him that this is a concussion, it's a lie on that particular day.
Do you think it would have been possible for that lie to be stated on national radio without Yahya Jammeh's involvement?
It is not possible.
As far as you know, who bears ultimate responsibility for the killing of these individuals, these 7 individuals?
I will automatically say he bears the responsibility.
Who do you refer to as he?
The former President Yahya Jammeh.
So your testimony is Yahya Jammeh killed these 7 individuals?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
After this particular operation, did anything happen to the patrol team, the constitution of the patrol team?
Well, the departure of Ismaila Jammeh and in addition to that, my departure has set the patrol team in an unbalanced status.
What do you mean by that?
They were no more solid, and there was that form of weakness, I could read in their, performance.
Give us examples.
Like, men were scattered. First, there also came to be non-cooperation in between, and there was a scramble for position also. Because at this point in time, when Manlafikor was late, Tumbul, shortly before his death, decided to bring the followers of Manlafikor, his subordinates, to attach them to this team, when already we have already left. So there was that scramble of position and power in between them. And sometimes you will hear, you can tell somebody, count yourself out of my soul, but you cannot tell him, count your hearing from my saying.
So what happened to you?
I left, and it was this time that the fight began to be tense in my side, because the day I was leaving coincided with the day Tumbul was laid to rest.
What happened to Tumbul?
Tumbul was sick and he died. But we believe he died out of this spiritual fight between him and Musa Jammeh. Both of them conquered each other.
Was it a spiritual fight?
This is what we believe, because they were both scrambling for that appointment of PPO.
What is PPO?
Principal Protective Officer.
For who?
For the President, Yahya Jammeh.
Theory has it that both of them were poisoned and they died.
It could
to
be.
Cover up Yahya Jammeh's crimes of executions and assassinations.
It could be if theory quotes it like that, I will not, condemn it, because looking at the nature of how Tumbulu's family was left after his departure, and taking into consideration his commitment for Yaya Jammeh's job, one will not dispense it.
So you think it would not be wrong
It would
to
never be wrong.
suggest that both Tumbul and Musa Jammeh were executed in order to cover up for Yaya Jammeh's crimes?
It may be possible, because myself, I narrowly escaped that trap. At the end of the day.
We would come to that later. So can you explain to the Commission how you started dissociating yourself from the patrol team / junglers?
Yes, I can.
Go ahead, please.
When we laid Tumbul to rest, there was this order from Nuabaji that all of us present at the burial were to report to Kanilai, and we should report to Solo, and there would be a meeting. It was proposed that Solo would take the lead, that is inheriting it from the late commander that was Tumbul. So we left, went to Kanilai. On our way, there was a Kasu farm on the right-hand side of the road, I don't know, after Pirang, where these the Manjakos used to prepare this sumsum. We passed through there. I was still having
Did you help yourselves to the
I was still
sumsum?
with my cannabis.
Okay, but did the others help themselves to
They
the
drunk.
sumsum?
They were drunk from that point. Then we proceeded to Kanilai. We went to the meeting in Solo's house that was, located at the top floor of the story building. If you come immediately from Yaya Jammeh's house to the left, the top floor was where Solo's room was located. We went there, and everybody was seated. When Solo came out, before the meeting was to commence, I put the same question that I asked on the road on the floor.
Which was?
What do you people think about us being used against our people instead of rendering service? And again, I said I'm not comfortable.
Did they respond?
There was no response. Suddenly, the meeting dispersed.
And then what happened after that?
We followed one another to Manjang's, residence in Mud House, because then I was no more in Kanilai. Although there was a big hall that during my stay there, I partitioned into 3 rooms, one being the parlor and 2 bedrooms. At this time when we came, the 2 rooms were being occupied by soldiers of the physical guard. I wouldn't have a room. So we decided to go to the Mud House where Manja was presiding, because he never wanted to lose that residence. He is always permanently fixed there. Upon arriving at that place, we were at the veranda. I heard Michael Jatta saying in Mandinka, I'm sorry, it is inclusive and insult. If the commission will allow me to
The
speak
commission
in
would
his words,
listen to it. It's the evidence, the commission would hear it. Just say it verbatim.
This was a quarrel and it was in words in Mandinka.
Tell us.
Say natra jarra kanyo samba kewal nyatu na kanyo doya. Woto nganyo samba ulo ko nganyo basele.
That is what he said.
That is what he said.
Could you translate that into English?
If it is what to take one another to the command, to be causing each other, I think we will take each other to the bush and we fuck each other's parents, mothers.
That's what who said?
Michael Jatta said it.
And what happened after that?
I turned and faced him boldly. I knew that was for me, because it was me who caused the meeting to be wrapped up. And I said to him, "Tekala file kewale mbasele. Moto chabo fele mbulo kono, albula moto kono ngal samba to a very comfortable booth albe mbasele la damento."
And what does that mean?
I said, I always love men to fuck my mother. But as I am having the key of the vehicle, bought the vehicle, I will take you to a comfortable booth where you will do this that you are saying.
You were inviting them to a fight?
Yes. They invited me.
And what happened after that?
They back out.
And then?
I was angry. My intention was to wrap up the whole show because my intention was I would not go with any firearm because I took out my firearm and put it on the floor. I put out my pistol, put it on the floor before I said this.
For all these operations you talked about earlier, you said you went in battle order. What type of weapons did you have?
I was having a grenade launcher and a pistol, side muzzle, short muzzle rather.
Okay. Say for the operations in which you participated, what type of weapons did you use?
It was all pistol.
All pistol?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Dauda Nyasi, it was pistol, correct?
Yes, sir.
Dongo Mbub, you did not fire?
I did not fire.
Deida Hydra, it was pistol?
It was pistol.
And
pistol mark Glock 17.
Glock 17. And all the other operations, say for instance, the Ghanaians, it was also a pistol?
The Ghanaians, I believe there could have been shots, because the AK shot could be different from, could sound different from the pistol shot. I was able to identify AK shots were fired, but who was firing the AK shots, I will not know, because I was able to distinguish between the thumb and the crack.
And as far as you're concerned, the person you killed, what type of weapon did you use?
Pistol I used.
Pistol, good. So on this particular occasion that you had this altercation with Michael Jatta and this other group, you were armed as well, were you?
I was armed, but before saying this, my intention was to wrap up everything, run everybody into accident, whereby I believe I would be able to save, though I was going to be casualized, but I will not allow anybody to come home. And if I come back, my intention was to explain that we ran into accident and they all died.
But that plan was never to materialize?
They didn't, they back out of it. They invited me. When I took it, they back out.
What did you do after that?
I left them, and I told them that 9 o'clock I am going to leave here and go home. And I'm going with this particular car for my safe mobility. That's the time I left them and went to the baobab tree beside that mud house. There was a Rasta man who was not very correct. He used to gather stones there and make it a mosque where he used to be parked. I went to him and he gave me some cannabis. I smoked. From there, it was almost 9 o'clock. I came back and told them.
Cannabis, was it legalized in Kanilai?
It was not legalized.
But people smoked freely?
Not freely everywhere.
But there were places where people could smoke freely?
Not specific places. You know where to hide yourself, and you feel you are safe, you smoke it.
Okay, good. So, and then what happened after that?
When I came back, it was sharp 9 o'clock on my watch. I said to them that I am now going, and this is my final time with you people. I'm going with the car. That was the time I picked my weapon, the grenade launcher. There is a process you call make safe with the weapon. Unload the weapon, clear it until they all saw that it was clear. I picked the round that came from the chamber, loaded it on the magazine, loaded it again, and cocked it safe. I took my pistol, did the same thing, cock and safe. And I told them that I am leaving and I'm going to use this back way from here to Kunjenja. I will appear in Sibano. That was the road that I was introduced to in the initial time. That was the border road. So whoever is displeased with, amongst you, go and wait for me on the road. We prove to each other who is the better soldier.
And after that?
When I was about to board the vehicle, the same Michael spoke and said, Arabulaita, one-man army. Manja was on the other side with Noah, and they said, that was where I achieved my aim to be operating alone by myself.
One-man army?
Yes, sir.
And where did you go?
I went home to Tujereng.
With your grenade launcher?
With my grenade launcher. It was all along with me at home.
And your jeep?
Yes, sir.
Unaccounted for in the army?
Accounted for.
Did they come after you for the jeep?
No. In another development, Lamin Toure, who was a close associate of Sanamanjang, called me when I was coming from Kanilai and indicated that Borakoli and the guys are setting an ambush for me at Kembujeng. That if I was in possession of cannabis, let me just postpone my journey. I said, fine, I am around Sumita, but tell them that I am not in possession of cannabis. Since they are there to wait for me, I will go back and load because I have advised them not to spoil the boys in this cannabis peddling long time, and they are doing it. Do they need something better than me? Tell them I'm going back to Upot and I will load, and I'm coming.
Do that?
I went and did that. I'm sorry, it is a crime, it's an offense.
What did you load? What did you load?
I loaded cannabis.
Where did you get the cannabis from?
It was these pushermen who will go to the bush to buy cannabis and they do not know how to transport it to Combo.
You knew where to find them?
I used to patrol the border and I knew that at Upat there was one compound that was just beyond the border. There is not part of the Gambia. I will call it a no man's land.
There is no such place. No man's land? No. It's either in Gambia or it's in Senegal.
Militarily, we call the 300 meters from the border, from your end area to the other country as a no man's land. So you will say maybe 150 meters inward and 150 meters outwards. We'll call it a no man's land.
Okay, that is news to me, but if you look at the map...
This is combatly, I mean. I am not talking about those civil
okay, so this house was located within that 300-meter zone?
Not even 300 meters zone. It was less than even 100 meters, maybe 75 to 80 meters from the border.
From the Gambian border?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you went there, and what happened?
I went there. Luckily, I found so many pushermen with their cannabis there. They did not know how to cope. I loaded the vehicle to the brink.
And
I told them that I am not going to carry anybody. If you can contact your agents, give me your number. You contact your agents that anywhere I'm supposed to meet them will be on the road, and I drop it. If I don't see them, I'm going away with your cannabis.
So you served as a smuggler?
Yes.
For the pushermen?
That trip, I served as a smuggler for the pushermen.
You knew you would not be stopped along the way?
That is what I wanted, in fact, because I was fed up then.
And what was the consideration that was given for you to carry out this dangerous enterprise?
They were paying $500 for a kilo.
How many kilos did you load?
I cannot remember how many kilos I loaded, but I had $27,000 on that trip.
That's a lot of money. $500 per kilo, $27,000, that's 54 kilos.
It cannot solve my problem.
But it was 54 kilos nonetheless.
Maybe, something like that.
Yes. And did you come across the ambush?
I came up to around Madinaba, the same Lamin Toure mosquito, alias mosquito of the NIA, gave me a call and indicated that Bora is advising these people to, fall out the patrol, the ambush. Otherwise, the expectation they have in your cooperation is not going to be met. You are going to open fire on them before they achieve their objective. I said, fine. Tell him, I said, please let him wait for me there. That I'm getting close.
Weren't you on a suicidal mission?
That would have been better than sitting here today to be humiliated. I'm feeling humiliated. If you don't know, let me tell you.
Well, our objective, our purpose is not to humiliate you. Our objective is to bring out the truth from you, let you explain to the Gambian people what you did and why you did it.
And I am doing that, feeling that I'm responding to the demand of the people, which should have been the order that was thwarted to serve the interests of one person. So I will not leave any stone unturned.
Wonderful. That is the expectation. Don't leave any stone unturned, but don't also think that the Commission is here to humiliate you. That is far from our objective. What you did was wrong. It was unlawful and it was deeply embarrassing. Perhaps maybe that is why you're feeling this way.
Yes, of course.
So, did you succeed in getting to town with the cannabis?
I did it. I told you that, I was able to get 27,000 out of that smuggling.
And what did you do after that?
From there, I was maintaining the car that I was having with that money to sustain it.
And for how long did you stay at home?
I stayed at home. I stayed in this one-man army for almost 2 years to 2009, when I was invited by a tourist friend of mine to, Holland on holidays.
But during these 2 years, were you being paid your salary?
I was being paid my salary, sir.
You were not reporting to work anywhere?
I was not reporting to work.
Nobody came after you?
No, sir.
Wouldn't that amount to desertion in the army?
Well, I was willing to work, but the area in which they wanted me to work, I cannot work there. And the guy applying the law knows that they are corrupt, and they know that they are wrong. They will not get a good excuse over me to do that. That's why I choose to do it in that way too.
So 2 years you stayed at home, nobody said a word?
Nobody said anything to me.
Your salary was being paid normally?
Yes, sir. And this was the time you are telling me that Babukar knows that I was at home for a long period. This is where it started. I told you that I did not tell him anything about these activities. But out of his professional observation, he could be able to tell that something is wrong in my career. And obviously something was wrong in my career. My family, sometimes they said I am short-tempered. I was not short-tempered. There was something that was disturbing me. Because before that time, I was a very nice man in the family. I had all these things piled up in my head. So I could then easily tend to lose my temper. And my family, my own family, quoted that I am short-tempered. But prior to that, I was never that short-tempered.
You were traumatized?
Completely.
And you mentioned a Babukar. Which Babukar are you referring to?
That is the former chief of staff that you asked me in the conversation that he was my brother. Somebody of my brother's brother was in position in the government.
And what's his name?
Babukar Jatta.
And during this period, did he ask you why you were staying home?
He never did ask me. I never discussed this with him. That is why I said if he knew about my being in the patrol team, he must have got this from a different source of information or from his own professional, observation.
But surely, as chief of staff, he must have known that you were a jungler.
I'm sorry, he was not there to be in direct contact with the State Guard Command. The man down there at the State Guard, at the unit, I have explained the fundamental values of a soldier here yesterday. We owe obligation to our unit. That's the loyalty to the unit. And the man there, later I came to understand that he was bridging that chain of command, talking directly to the commander. At some point when I was an RSM, he would even talk to a private soldier, directly.
That is all well and good. But the junglers was not a one-man army. The junglers were formations comprising of several patrol teams and the junglers. So they could not have been carrying their operations for how many years? From 2003 all the way to the time you left without your brother being CDS knowing anything about it.
Whether he knows it or not, I don't think I'm the right person to indicate that he knew it. He himself can speak that by himself, how he got to know that something was wrong.
But surely you were deserting, you were going AWOL, nothing happened to you, nobody said anything to you.
Now, to make things clear, Babukar was not there to aid me on anything because he didn't know about me. My coming to the army, himself, Babukar was not in favor of it.
That may very well be the case. But here you are in the army, he was the head of the army, you are going AWOL, you are staying home 2 months straight without going to work, you are not reporting anywhere, and nothing happened. Nobody said a word.
Counsel, I will tell you one thing. If Babukar was supposed to be treating me according to what I deserve in the job, I wouldn't have found my way into this mess. If at all he has got the right and to be treating me fairly, I wouldn't have got into this patrol team.
Well, it looks like that everybody closed their eyes, knowing that there was this group that was handpicked to do the dirty job.
I have intended to put this in my conclusion remark that the complacency and the lack of candor within the high echelon is one point that also led this country to this mess today.
And that does not exclude your brother.
Whether he would be part of it or not, well, my statement is for the high echelon, and this would be more.
And he was part of the higher echelon.
This would be more prominent from 2012 upwards, because this is the time myself I was aware that these informations were in the media.
More prominent in 2012, but started in 2003.
Fine.
Good. So let's move on. You were at home for 2 years, receiving your salary, no complaint. You had your weapon, you had your jeep. What happened after the 2 years?
In 2009, as I am telling you, was the year I was invited by a tourist friend. My intention was to leave once and for all. Nevertheless, I went for the visa interview at the Schengen consulate here around Senegambia. I was advised to go that in the next fortnight, 2 weeks' time, on Monday, I should come. I should expect to get my visa. But to my surprise, when I came on that day, I was disappointed.
What happened?
The lady I found at the table, the desk there, told me that, a commander from the Armed Forces headquarters had made a call indicating that I was running away from a crime, and if I was given the visa, I was going to travel to a third country. The commander, in whose capacity, I don't know who the commander exactly was. And I lose that.
How did you feel at the time?
Well, I did not feel good. I feel I was obstructed.
And
I was not happy with that.
why do you think you were obstructed?
My reasons internally was to leave. I felt this is a gateway for me to escape. But I felt it is detected somewhere.
And what happened after that?
After that, then 2 months after that, I was also surprised to be deployed to a mission I was never expecting that from the patrol team I would be entitled for such a mission. That was therefore troops.
On miss?
Yes, sir. UNAMID.
UNAMID. UNAMID before on miss, yes.
UNAMID.
So did you deploy?
You
deployed to UNAMID as a military observer or as a CIFPOL?
As a company sergeant major of troops.
Okay. And?
I served 6 months in Darfur. I even had a commendation letter from the then JSR, a copy of which is in my file. My performance.
Commendation letter for what?
My performance.
And then you returned in when? In which year? 2010, right?
2010.
And what happened to you upon your return?
When I came home, I was subjected to this pressure from Noah Baji and General Baji that before my deployment to Darfur, my postings was Kanilai. I should be going back to Kanilai. We had a bitter row.
We understand from your testimony that Noah Baji was also a commander of one of the patrol teams, correct?
Correct. When Noah Baji was serving under Malafikor at the time when he was alive. So after Malafik's death, I made mention that Tumbul was trying to bring them to the team, which also has resulted to their position scrambling. So he felt that he was part of that team, wanted to instruct me that my posting was at Kanilai before going on CIFOL. In 2003 or 2004, before the time I was deployed to the patrol team, it was a posting that was published. So they were emphasizing on that I should go back to Kanilai and observe that posting.
Okay. But this individual, Saul Baji, we want to know what position he occupied at this time and which unit he belongs to. Could you tell us?
Saul was the overall senior general observing the command of RNG and the GNG. RNG, Republican National Guard, that refers to the State Guard. The GND is the Gambia National Guard, referring to Fajara Barracks.
So hierarchically, he was the commander of the junglers.
Saul has been the commander overall, all the time.
He was also
the time when Tumbul was there, but immediately after Tumbul's death, Saul was overseeing everything in the state house, including the junglers.
And Saul was also a trained jungler, wasn't he?
I don't know about his jungle training, but I know that he was a commando also, who was trained in the... He had his training in Libya with the first batch.
Do you know whether he was also trained by Francisco?
I have no idea about that, because Francisco's coming to the state house, then I was not at the state guard. I only came in when already he has been training badges and he was on the, activity.
So when you returned, they wanted to take you back to your to the patrol team in Kanilai. Can you tell us what happened?
I was worried and confused because I had no space on the physical guard at the state house. I decided to accept, went back to Kanilai. When Martin saw me, then he was there with Lamin Sane, late, who died of the in the 30th attack. When Martin saw me, he just told me that, you are here. Okay, now I will provide a vehicle for you that you lead these boys, that is Bomber's team, to be observing the patrol at the border, normal. But still, at this point in time, I was still suspicious that these people have got an agenda in which they are pushing me to come and stay in Kanilai. Because without getting me in Kanilai, surprisingly to be putting me into this, nobody will tell me that let's go and kill and I will go. So always I'm getting this in the back of my mind that they are just creating situations where they can just surprise me and suppress me into this. So I was there for 2 weeks. There was no honoring to this promise Martin gave. And I woke up one day and said to him, well, I cannot stay here to be watching people to work when I'm just loitering here. I'm going home. That was the time I came home. Immediately from my return from Darfur, my house in Busumbala, I have built it then before going to Darfur, but it was not finished. I just pumped my money there, and then the outer cordon, the money that I should use to pay the messenger to plaster was not enough, but I was able to have bags of cement. I decided to do that by my own hands. As I was doing that, I sustained an injury on the leg. I didn't go back to Kanilai. But before my coming from Kanilai, there was a row that Sanomanjang mixed me with Martin and Lamin Sane, that he has advised me that things have changed in Kanilai, which I did not know about. And Bailo can attest to that statement that he used to advise me that go to Sanomanjang during that 2 week stay with them. But I will tell him that I know Manjang is a liar. I don't want to be associated with him that tomorrow he may allege me of something that has not taken place. On this day that I was leaving, he said he had advised me that the situation was changed. I said, change as to what? He said, leaving Kanilai now, nobody is entitled to living by yourself like I used to go. Now I have to write for a pass. That means a written permission.
Did you do that?
I didn't do that.
You left?
I didn't do that, and it ended up in a quarrel, and he said I should respect him because he's a senior officer then.
At this stage, what was your rank?
I was a warrant officer class 2.
How did you come to get this elevation to warrant officer class 2 when you went to Darfur as company sergeant major?
That is the rank. That is the appointment of the rank, warrant officer class 2.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Did you get an elevation from that?
I later get an elevation in 2011, I think on the 11th of September, when already Martin was in the State House as the commander. But prior to this, Serimodu was the commander at the State Guard. That is, when I left Kanilai, did my plastering until my wound on the leg healed, I decided to report to the State House. Serimodu decided to absorb me after a period when my term elapsed and I signed off.
Who is this Serimodu?
General Serimodu Njai.
So at this stage, your term in the army had come to an end.
Yes, sir.
How come you continued in service? Could
I
you
decided
explain?
to leave. But Saul Baji confronted me and told me that, look, Alaj Malik, you have to reconsider your decision or else you prepare for the repercussion.
What was he alluding to?
I have to sign in or else if I leave, I should expect anything.
Like what?
That can lead to the end of my life. Because I know that I embodied secrets and he knows that I know the secret.
Secrets of who?
Of the former president. And he knows he was the commander.
Which former president?
Jammeh.
And what would those secrets be?
Those secrets are the secrets I'm revealing here today.
Which are killing of people?
Killings of innocent lives. The extrajudicial killings that I was running away from.
So, in a sense, you're saying he threatened you?
It was properly threatening.
And what did you do?
I insisted that I was going to leave. The chief clerk was himself lost in the show because he didn't know. It is he who puts on the boot, who knows where the boot pinches worst. He expected that I was having a bright future in the job, when actually I know the hurdles I was walking through. So I said, I think it's time for me to leave. I'm going to leave. They tried, they couldn't, convince me. I left my application there and I went home. Later, I was called by Selim Modu, this General Njai, who advised me that, Alaj Malik, there are 1,001 dogs in this state house who are eager to see you disarm. I'm afraid you may be defeated in town.
What does that mean? You may be defeated in town.
It may mean anything. It may mean a lot. It may mean that I may be attacked. It may be I may be killed. It may be mean that I may be going out for failure.
And then?
He further advised me that let me sign only one time and we see what will come next. In fact, he was going to provide a vehicle from his own expense to facilitate my safe movement from home to work and work to home.
At this stage, where was the jeep?
The jeep, when I left to Darfur, I returned, before leaving to Darfur, I returned the jeep to Kanilai.
So when you returned, you didn't have another vehicle?
Manja went there and followed the jeep. How they ended up with the jeep, I don't know. But I understand that he committed an accident, somersaulted with the jeep, and he lost almost a quarter of the year from that incident.
Okay. So, on this time around, you had asked to retire, so you were convinced by General Njai to continue,
yes,
that there are 1,001 dogs out there who want you out, and if you leave, you can be defeated.
You'll be defeated in town.
In town. What happened after that?
After that, I signed in. And when I signed in, he absorbed me into the unit, the physical guard, and entrusted me the commando company. That was Delta Koi. I was serving them as the CSM as well as observing the commandership, platoon commander.
What is CSM? What is CSM?
That is Company Sergeant Major.
That's right. And then what happened after that?
Then shortly after that, they began publishing me to observe duties as the duty warrant officer, daily duty warrant officer, deputizing the RSM on off duties.
Proceed.
On my first day of observation of my duties, I came across a situation which I suspected. I launched myself into the investigation and came to discover that it was related to an international crime.
Tell us about it.
That was a rebel casualty was, facilitated.
Rebel casualty from where?
Casamas. Was facilitated by Bora Koli through one NIA officer, I think it's late now, by the surname Nyasi, I don't know his real name, and was brought to RVH. I just came out. Normally, when I am to be on duties, I will have my internal peripheral patrol to observe, whether there are any abnormalities with the, defense. This is reference to combat. If I want to go into that, it's going to be a whole lesson. But I need not go.
Don't necessarily go into all that detail.
After internal peripheral patrol, I went on the external peripheral patrol. When I came up to A&E, I saw a vehicle.
A&E, what does that mean?
A&E at the accident and emergency at the RVH.
Proceed, please.
I saw a vehicle that was dusty, black, and it was a Ford mark in the darkness. Having been at the border initially on patrol, I have recognized this vehicle as a vehicle belonging to Salif Sajo in the bush.
Who is Salif Sajo?
A rebel leader of the Casamas Rebellion.
Okay.
So I decided to get into that investigation at my level. I suddenly opened the door of the vehicle opposite to the driver's door and popped inside. I found an old man with a veil over his head, sitting at the driver's seat. But the key of the vehicle was, in the key slot. I sat and said to him, can you help me? He said, what do you want? I said, who are you? And he disguised telling me that he was a police officer from Sibanor police station, that they had a patient that they brought to RVH. So the police were inside and he's waiting on them to transport them back. I said, Sibanor police station? He said, yes. I said, I know the vehicle that belongs to Sibanor police station, and that vehicle has a registration number. I said, and this one has no registration number. He said, is there no registration number? I said, no. He said, maybe it has dropped. Then I said, how about the writing that I knew on the doors of the Sibanor police station? They have also dropped along? And he said to me, in fact, who are you? I said, you need to be clean with me. Tell me exactly what is happening, or else I'll give you a problem. He said, what do I mean? I pulled out the key before he was settled from the slot. I got the key and I said to him, if you are not going to tell me who you are and what you are here for, then now I give you a problem. Because I'm going to take you inside and you will talk. That is the time he said, he was there with Nyasi and they had a patient. But he didn't tell me that it was a rebel. So I said, who is Nyasi? He said, it's an NIA. But he said he would call, Borakoli. I talked to Borakoli. I said, I'm not going to talk to Borakoli. I want to know what is inside. So he mentioned that Pap Sane was also along with Nyasi, escorted. When he said Pap, I suspected that this is a rebel activity.
Why is that the case?
I knew Pap since Guinea-Bissau during the war of Ansumana. In 1999, when I went on that deployment, he was a fighter who was there to support Ansumana in the war.
He was a fighter?
Yes, from Casamas.
From Casamas?
Yes, sir.
But supporting Ansumana?
Yes, sir.
In the war in Guinea-Bissau?
Yes, sir. And
okay.
Second, I know him also along the borderline as the intelligence officer of this rebel, the same Casamas rebellion.
Which one?
Sajo rebellion.
Okay.
That's MFDC.
Okay. So proceed, please.
So I told him to call them, let them come out. He said he did not have their number. I insisted that I was going to give him a problem still. So when he was not able to know how to dribble me, he decided to make a call. And all of a sudden, these two people came out, and then Pap spoke to me in a way that was not respectful. I was almost angry with him. I pushed him, turned him around, and I said to him, if you talk to me like this in my own capital, I'm going to do you sit. Pap, I will meet you in the border and I'll control you. And there is peace. Why in my own country, in my own capital? I am asking you why you are here. You are talking to me like this. He said he's going to talk to Bora. I said, talk to Bora. That's your business. Then
and Bora Koli is the same Bora Koli you referred of the patrol team who participated in bringing out Manlafikor, Daba Marena, and others for execution, correct?
Yes,
and then what happened after that?
At this point, Serim Modu's call was placed in my phone. I don't know who called him to inform him. But then, that day I was on duties with Captain Amadou Jame Pajero as the duty officer, and Sedi Jen Wandifa, Captain Sedi Jen now, was a staff sergeant and was serving as the orderly sergeant. But Sedi Jen was not far from me. I suspected that he gave Serim Modu the call. So Serim Modu called me and said, Pa Malik? I said, yes, sir. He said, what is going on? I explained this in brief that, I have stepped on this information here. I am trying to find out, but Pap is not trying to be cooperative. He said, aha, good, pin them. That means give them no chance. Arrest them. You know? As I was doing that, controlling these people, his call came back in my phone again. He said to me this time, Malik, you know you are an elder of your own. I said, yes, sir. He said, remember today for tomorrow. We will repeat this.
But did you understand him to mean?
It means I have to put it in the record. Something is wrong somewhere that he cannot control, he cannot handle. But this thing may be revealed tomorrow.
What did you do as a result?
He finally said, release them. I obeyed and released them.
And what happened after that?
Early, I think less than 2 weeks after that, I came across the rumors that Serimod was leaving the State Guard for the Foreign Service.
He was redeployed?
Yes, sir.
Do you know why he was redeployed?
I never knew, but I suspected that it must have got an effect with this. Because Ajame was very cunning. He could use any excuse when he has this in the back of his mind.
Do you know whether your interaction or your encounter with this Salif Sajo rebel, do you know whether that filtered into the wrong ears?
I suspected deeply.
What did you suspect?
That the interaction was what Bora used to counter Serimodo and speak to the Ajame, who must have given him the information, the instruction to order me to release these people.
Of course, that is speculation, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
You're just guessing. And during this period, did you encounter General Baji?
It was shortly after that. When Serimodo was leaving, I came to bid farewell and he told me, you know, Malik, by Mawahela. He was a bit angry. This guy, you and I, we will not enjoy in this job. But Malik, this is the beginning of the battle. The end of this battle is going to be fucking interesting, you know?
What was he alluding to?
That was his departure.
At this stage, what was your rank?
I was a warrant officer class 2.
You haven't become RSM yet?
Not yet, sir.
Can you tell us what happened after that until the point you became RSM?
Okay, after that he left for the Foreign Service and was deployed to India. Then in 2011, I was then promoted to the rank of warrant officer class 1 when General Martin was, you know, the commander. In that promotion, looking at the circumstances and the situation surrounding, private soldiers whom I have served as the CSM, some of them were being commissioned to lieutenant, and the couples, some of them were promoted to the rank of captain.
Excuse me, let's get this straight. From private to lieutenant?
Yes, sir.
From couple to captain?
Yes, sir.
Only in the Gambia Army?
Good.
It happens nowhere else?
So in that promotion, I was...
Answer my question.
Yes, sir.
It happens nowhere else?
I don't know of other armies. I know of the...
Have you ever had that happening in any army?
Well, it must be based on, you know, complete merits.
On this particular occasion, was it?
No, there were no merits of such.
It was mass promotion, was it?
Mass promotion, of course.
Well, how would you call that? What was the motive for doing that?
It's best known to the command.
Would you say, would it be wrong to suggest that it was just to bribe the army?
Well, I will not call it like that.
You think it was justified to just...
It was not justifyingly done. It was done based on selective, you know, like favoritism. Who you know, something like that.
But was it
Who
just...
is close to you?
Even if it was done selectively, even if it was based on merit, would you say it was justified to just so suddenly inflate the officer corps of the army?
I will not
by
justify
just promoting? It was not justified.
In fact, that has got a very big effect in the performance of the unit. Because wrong people were put at the wrong positions and with the wrong ranks when they do not know the function of that particular rank.
And for you, you were warrant officer class 2 at the time?
Promoted to class 1.
So you were expecting to be lieutenant colonel?
No, sir. I would expect to be commissioned because there were warrant officers who used to be commissioned, who were commissioned then.
No, but look at it this way. If private soldiers were being moved to lieutenants, corporals were being moved to captains, warrant officer you would expect to be lieutenant colonel.
If the trend was to flow normal.
Yes.
Yes, I would expect that.
You were disappointed, weren't you?
Totally disappointed.
And how did you react to that?
Yes, Martin gave me the rank, and it was out of controversy that I should be the RSM. Certain people like Asmana Tamba and Captain Fal, Mustafa, plus a good number of the men on the ground cried that they need me as the RSM of the unit instead of the guy that they were putting there who was Musa King. So this prompted them to give me the warrant officer class 1 out of that promotion. So I looked at this rank and looked at Martin, I was angry. I said to him, you give me this to keep me silent. And he said to me, look, I understand you are a rebel, but here, I'm the commander.
And?
No, my orders final.
And?
Or else I take you 6 feet deep. I said, fine, let's see how you will do that.
That was a threat, wasn't it?
Yes, but I was always ready to take it also. Because since my departure from patrol team, I was in this type of situation. As long as my side weapon was with me, who dares win?
And high on weed?
No, then I have stopped smoking weed.
Okay, good.
Even cigarette, then I have stopped smoking cigarette.
You stopped
going to
smoking.
that why I stopped smoking cigarette.
Good. You started rehabilitating yourself?
That was in 2016.
Yes. All right. So after all this with Martin, you're giving warrant officer class 1. What happened?
Then in 2012, I was sent to study the warrant officers, leadership, military leadership, plus global enlisted membership of leadership. I did that course in Houghton Academy.
In where?
In Houghton Academy in Freetown.
Sierra Leone, correct?
Luckily, I topped the course.
Congratulations.
I was there with Seth Njai.
Okay.
I left Seth, who came back with some of my, recommendations.
And were you recognized to be honored?
I was recognized by the headquarters, and nominated for a National Medal Award, but it never took place in 2013.
You were never honored? You
No.
were not given the award?
No.
Do you know why?
I know nothing about that.
Okay. Do you think you were badly treated?
I was totally badly treated. I was being denied. I will say my refusal to go back to the patrol team, led me to lose these opportunities, but I did not mind about the gains. My safety is what I mind. Unfortunately, I am here today that the whole nation will run after me, but I will give them what will make them understand. I know it is difficult, and I seek forgiveness and their pardon.
So, after this training in Sierra Leone, what happened next?
That was the nomination for National Medal Award. From there, again, I was nominated for a Staff Officer's Mission. This was supposed to be a MILAPS, Military Observer Mission, alongside Salve Corps, and the circular passed through my office, but it was again torn down at the state guard level.
Do you know why?
Nay, when I went back to the Policy and Planning Office, they told me that it is said that the president said you should not go. That is
And
what the command
who
told me.
was the president at the time?
That was the same Yahya Jammeh.
How did you feel?
Bad and offended.
During this period, did you have other encounters with General Sol Baji?
So Baji, immediately this man, General Njai, left. He stopped me around the glass house and asked me that, you have chosen to listen to nobody other than General Njai. I said, yes. And he said, now that he is gone, what is next? I said, yes, till God is there. Allah bijele.
Your relationship with Sol Baji, was it good?
Nay. Was not good.
And what transpired after that?
The only problem in between me and Sol Baji was that he was trying to tactically send me back to the patrol team, and I said no. And he confronted me on a series of occasions that I should go back to the patrol team. I said no, I am not going. And this prompted his decision that I should not enjoy any privilege.
And let's say during that period, did you continue to work normally?
Yes, I was working on the ground as an RSM, but I ended up complaining up to the Policy and Planning Office. When this CPOL trial came, I was sent to try my chance. I passed the examination comfortably again.
Were you deployed?
I was not deployed, only surprised to be informed by Mustafa Sane that I should linger behind General Baji. Means I should be a bootlicker for General Baji if I want my deployment to be done. This service, everybody has your guy. I said to him, when I was going in for the examination, I did not linger behind any commander. I took the examination by myself, so I'm not going to linger behind General Baji. Simply for the fact that I know what he wants and I cannot do that for him. Then he said to me, boy, your departure from the patrol team is very significant. Come back, we work for the state. I said, look, I have regretted all that I have been put into, and I have repented. If it comes to conventional warfare, you will see, you will get me as a mad fighter for my people. But this type of nonsense operations, I am not a party. Surprisingly enough, when Panderi gave me a call, he had to give me this statement directly as I said it to Mustafa, and we were only two between Banjul and Kotu. He gave me a lift. That you said, these nonsense killings, you are not part of it, but if it comes to conventional warfare, you'll fight like a mad soldier. I said, hey, who are you? You are calling me with only 3 degrees. I don't know you.
Pandiri who?
And I think the proprietor of Freedom Radio.
He called you?
Yes, sir.
And he laid this allegation to you?
Yes, sir.
And how did you respond, apart from saying, who are you?
Yeah, he further went into, alleged me that I took Imam Babali, whom I don't know within the people today, and one lawyer, Silato Kanilai, with Bora Koli. We shot them in their struggle to die. Bora was afraid and he ran away. Me, I came and finished them with shots. That did not go down well with me. But, I was very angry, and I, turned the whole conversation into insults.
But Babali is alive, I understand.
Yeah, that's why I said that was a complete allegation.
And Mr. Silla is also alive.
I don't know these people, in fact. If they stand before me,
it would be foolish on the part of anybody to suggest that you killed those people when those people are here and alive.
And this is what he told me, Pandeli alleged me. This is what prompted me to spoil the conversation, because I was angry. As I told you, I was then under trauma.
Maybe you did not understand his questions.
It could be.
Okay. So
on the conclusion of that, he told me that, you don't know, the man you are working for is now turning on you to kill you.
Who said that to you?
That was Panderi.
And who was he referring to?
That was Yaya Jame. He said to me, I have a good information for you. I wanted to alert you, but it appears like you are not entertaining me. But the man that you are working for is turning back on you to kill you.
And what did you take from that?
I did not believe it initially.
And which year was this? Was it 2014 or 2016?
I would quote it maybe 2014 to 2015, something like that. I cannot remember exactly, because I was in my moment of trauma. I wouldn't be able to remember exactly what time. But Panderi himself, as long as he's a media practitioner, he may be having those records with him.
Very well. It's not really central to the issues. We just want to know how you were feeling during that period. So as a result, did you continue to go to work or did you stay at home?
No, I did not continue to go to work. I started keeping it home. And consequently, Mustafa Fall also gave me the same information in this shape that when he was in the office, Sol Baji used to plan assassination traps for me. But he asked me, Ndoma, I said, yes, sir. Ngamoy koye bonde appointment, I said, yes, sir. He said, are you armed? I said, yes, sir. He said, they took their vehicle? I said, yes, sir. He said, fine, and I understand you have passed this CPOL trial. I said, yes, sir. He said, do you need any help? I said, the passports are now introduced to this biometric, and it is costing up to 3,500. I do not have that money to renew my passport, and I'm waiting for the deployment. He sent me some money, and I renewed my passport, and he said to me, Ndoma, Sol ka plan ne pour que 1 minute, but I know you are a commando. You can take yourself out of any situation that you find yourself in. But go and wash your body. Tie baloku. And always watch back.
And for how long did you stay at home?
I stayed at home up to 2016.
From 2014 to 2016?
Yes, sir.
2 years?
2 years.
Nobody came for you?
I even went back and I was brutal against the command. Then it was Asumana Tamba and General Baji.
So these 2 years that you were away, your salary was still being paid?
It was still running because I have nowhere to work, Oga.
No, but the thing is, were they paying your salary knowing fully well that you were not going to work?
They were paying, of course. If they don't have any excuse to, to label me and give me that, and obstruct my salaries, what would they do? I was ready to do it for my country. But what they want me to do, I will not do that.
What did they want you to do?
That was to continue on that killing, that wrongful killing, in the pretense that we are serving the public interest.
So what else did you do?
Then when I attacked them, it appears like Solbaji was rejoicing in my sufferation. Asked me funny questions, and at the end of the day, I was mad. I asked them 3 questions. Why are you people corrupt? Why are you suppressive? And why are you unfair in the treatment of personnel? This did not go down well with them. So Asmana said I should shut up. I said I will not shut up. When Solbaji spoke, I said when all this nonsense was beginning, I talked to you. But you could not let justice stand. And now you are telling me to shut up. I will not shut up. Then they said fall out. I said I'm not going to fall out until I am done. And then I was angry and I was sweating.
Were there any consequences for your so-called insubordination?
Yes.
What happened?
Asumana decided to offer me a charge sheet.
And did it result in a court-martial?
No.
What happened?
I came back the following day to peep and know what was the situation in the battalion. So I was advised by Amadou Diouf that, look, what you did yesterday could be very violent against you. I will never advise you on the wrong thing. Try and go and apologize to these people, or else it's going to be violent against you. I said, no, I'm not going to advise. I'm not going to apologize. Because they know what they are doing with me. He said, no, I am advising you. Me, I am somebody who like your future. Go and apologize. I went to Asumana that day. In order to apologize, I cried.
So
the apology led him to remove that charge sheet he put in my file.
So after all this, you stayed home for 2 years, and come 2016, what did you decide to do?
I came on board during that election standby. It was a general standby for all soldiers.
So came elections time, you went back to State House.
I asked Ansumana that, I am having no money and I need money. The tour is, attracting allowance. I need money. Please put me in this tour so that I can also have something that I will help my family with. He allowed me to go, but I was not also associated with their activities because the lance corporal who was serving under me then as the logistic officer was the one he was connected with doing their things.
And what things were those?
That is taking orders from him directly, Ansumana, and that they will be operating. He will give him orders, and he will be doing everything because that lance corporal will belong to the ordnance. I also maintained a low profile. What I was interested is, let me just go on the tour and get what I can help my family with.
Whose store was that?
That was President Jammeh's store.
Around the country?
Huh?
Around the country?
Yes, sir, in 2016. When we came back, then on election day, before coming back, I started to suspect this assassination trap whirling around me. Because when we were on the way, the last couple I was working with, as logistic officers, he had an in-law in Kolikunda before reaching Farafenye. He asked me if I could allow him to go and say hello to his in-laws. I said, no problem. We will go there and we rush, get to this place and erect the tents before the arrival of these people. There is enough time. So when we get there, there was a marabout. The in-law was a marabout. Decided to do his stuff and told the boy that, look, this man is your good elder brother. I said, yes. He said, fine. There is one amongst your superiors who want to show him something very dangerous. But as you are going on this road, you can take out this charity. We did that. So we came up to Basse. A former girlfriend of Manjang placed a phone call in my phone, indicating that she went to General Baji. General Baji gave her $20,000. And that she is always isolated at Brufut Heights. If I can choose only a single night to accompany her there, she's always isolated. I turned it down because I suspected that that would be an isolation trap. Then come to election, the same Lamin Ture also called me. I was in Busumbala. Promised to give me money which I have never begged. But invited me to meet him at Westfield in the night when his office was at Banjul. I put this to his question. My office is in Banjul and your office is in Banjul. Why are you inviting me to Westfield at 10 o'clock in the night when you know I'm in a standby? He said, hey, Baba, I'm on foot auto. It has not got to that. Now, let me tell you how we are going. I said, I don't know how we are going to do it. He said, I'm going to send you $200 credit, and tomorrow I will come to 22nd July Square and call you. I give you the rest of the money. I've never begged him money. Most of to set an amount. I said, okay, fine. If you do it like that, I'm happy. It never happened, up to date. So on the 12th of December, I was promoted to this rank.
Which is?
Lieutenant.
Were you surprised?
Very surprised because I was not informed as to which rank I was being promoted to until a night before.
And this was also a single promotion,
no,
group promotion, or mass promotion?
It was a group promotion.
Right. How many people?
From different units.
How many people?
I don't know how many people, I cannot recall. But there was a warrant officer also who was also, an old warrant officer class 1 with me in the steel guard, came to me and said to me, yo bro, I said, yo bro, he said, let's not take this promotion. They know very well they are giving us a wrong promotion. I said, yo bro, at this point in time, this is a dick. These people know this more than you. They are just, digging this ditch so that, you complain and they put you in the ditch and bury you. Let's go and take it. One day, this may be a defense for us. The warrant officer is now a lieutenant and is observing a course at the training school in Bakau.
And others were promoted to very high.
From my that appointment, the predecessors I have succeeded were promoted from warrant officer class 2 to captain straight. I was a warrant officer class 1 for 6 years at that appointment.
Others were promoted to lieutenant colonels and majors.
Fine.
And brigadier generals.
I came back home, complimented General Tamba, and I just showed him my shoulder, indicating that this is a wrong promotion. He said to me, I have seen it. And he repeated it in Mandika Ngajele. He gave me his back and walked. So I proceeded to Solbaji. Saluted him and showed him. I was very surprised to see him sound in this way. Alaj Malik, in fact, you are too brave and you are very wise. By now you should not be.
What does he mean by you should not be?
I should have been dead.
Did he say anything more?
Yes, he said, we gave your issues to Bora, but Bora could not manage you out.
So, and what do you understand that to mean?
That means Bora was supposed to assassinate me. And he said, but now, since now we know where the truth lies, let's manage this situation, and we forge ahead. I saluted and fall out. 2 days after that, it was after dinner, when I was not even catered for dinner. I came out with Anthony, Lieutenant Mendy, to go and buy, breakfast, dinner from the street. I found Ansumana Tamba, M.A. Ba, and General Baji at his office, General Baji's office. So we are passing, he said to me, you are going, but don't stay long, come back soon. I said, okay, sir. I moved a little bit, and he said, where are you people in fact going to? I said, I'm going to buy dinner. I've not been catered. So he said, okay, just be quick. I went before I come back. He placed two times calls in my phone before I reached his office. When I reached, he informed me that, fine, Kanilai was said to be under the threat of attack tonight. And we are deploying you there as a platoon commander with a platoon to reinforce Kanilai. Now that I have lost the power of the warrant officer, I will not be able to say no. But I know I was not going to join the patrol team. I decided to take it.
Did the warrant officer have more powers than the lieutenant, second
Yes.
lieutenant?
Yes, it has privileges and rights over the lieutenant in some cases.
Okay, and then?
Then I left here with that, the reinforcement platoon to Kanilai. Upon reaching Kanilai, Sanamajang thought that I was there with that platoon to reinforce him with the patrol team. So I started to discover that he was getting too much closer with me. Each time I would like to sleep, I was always with my men, because there is a slogan in military leadership that the best position for a platoon commander is within his men. He has no office, but his office is within his men and in the field. So wherever my men sleep, without accommodation, in the open is where I sleep with them. But each time I will be sleeping, he will bring a mattress and put it beside me. Already I was suspicious about him. I never trust him anymore. So I will get my weapon on my laps, just laying like this. Sometimes I doze and I'll be awake until daybreak. So at a point in time, he told me that, I think we will join forces together so that, we will be conducting this peripheral patrol here as you are doing it. I said, then bring your nominal roll. I have the nominal roll of my men. They are all accounted for. If you bring the nominal roll, I will blend them and I will deploy them. Nobody will cheat the order. He said to me, I have no nominal roll, but I operate with the CTU guys. The sergeants can give you the nominal roll. I said, I'm not interested in that. So he decided to seize the vehicle. That was the patrol vehicle that we use. We found there, we used to use them for the peripheral patrol. He decided to park them in the hangar and claimed that they were broken. He took them for maintenance. Out of this, we had a row. When I confronted him that, when will we get the vehicles to secure ourselves by, conducting this peripheral patrol, because we are under threat. He acted abnormal. It was in the presence of Major Baji Mustafa, and he asked me, Atul Kamanyadil, how are you people behaving? I said, ask him how is he behaving. So I went to General Savage and reported this matter. Savage advised me that we are not in a situation that you should be having frictions. Try to contain each other. Be patient for each other. I took that advice and came down. Then I used to come on classes every week, 3 times. French classes, observing those classes in preparation for deployment for Haiti. See Paul Mason. So another development, he invited me that, I am not able to have my own jet by myself. That is a lady. He will take me to this place, Tender Bar, that's where he kills out. He will give me. I said, I'm not going anywhere. Next, he introduced a mission that there are people crossing through Kiang, coming to fortify themselves spiritually to launch an attack on the government. I should join them. We go and arrest those people. I asked, if you arrest them at this point in time, what's going to be their offense? Then they said, executive order was the day, order of the day. I said, fine, I am not here to reinforce you people. I'm here to reinforce the physical guard, and Savage is there as the commander. Allow me to talk to him. I called Savage, informed him. He asked what was going to be those people, their crime if they are arrested. I said, I have asked a similar question, but they said, this is executive order. Then he was silent for a while and said to me, you don't go. But if they still insist, you may advise your platoon sergeant to give them not more than 3 riflemen. That means 3 private soldiers. I said to Savage, in fact, I'm on my way for classes. I called my platoon sergeant, who is Matthew Jassy, and advised him, if these people should come to request men, give them 3 men. When I came back from that classes, I realized that there was no mission.
You thought it was a trap?
It was a trap, of course. It was meant for isolating me. Then next to that, he went and stayed, I don't know with whom he was staying in Buyam, between the hours of 12 and 1 o'clock in the night. Called my platoon sergeant, advising him that he should request me to drive him and meet them at Buyam. Who he was there with, I did not know.
You can drink some water. And Mr. Jatta, we should start wrapping it up. We have 15 minutes to go. Yes. Go ahead.
He advised this man to call me and tell me to drive him. The man called me. I said, look, what is the official errand you people are running at that place? He said, now, fine, no, Colonel said that, I should tell you. I said, tell Colonel to dispatch his people to come and pick you. He said, there is no driver. I said, stop it. Tell them to call me. If there is anything I am to meet them in Buyanfo, I will know how to approach them as a soldier. Now tell them to call me. They didn't call me. Next to that, the following Friday, I came for classes. I went back in the night. I reached and found ML Mendy, Colonel Mendy, at the MRS. I just say, good evening, sir, and he just jumped to questions. Did you call to inform that you are coming? I said, to call who? He said, the cooks. I said, I don't even tell the commander that I'm coming. Since the first day I came here, I told him I have 3 days classes in a week. So he only knows that I'm gone when he does not see me, and he knows that I'm in when he sees me, because he knows these days that I go on for classes. He said, fine, they will not cater you for dinner. I said, I know that, but this is not my first time. I'm going for classes just to come and find remnants. Whatever I found on the table is what I do use. Then he said to me, yes, me, the boys killed a dog and they cook it. They dish me. I did not touch my plate. If you want to help yourself, you can use my plate if you find any plate that's not touched. That was the plate I took to Buffalo's house. I even sent a lance corporal to go and bring that plate. We went to Buffalo's house. I touched the fish 3 times. The 4th one, when I put it in, I took a different odor and I put it out. That is where I caught this stomach problem until 2 days after that, I was, operated. From that night, I couldn't have peace. Friday,
what do you think
Saturday,
happened?
Sunday.
What do you think happened?
I was poisoned. I suspected that plate was poisoned. But somebody informed me after consuming the plate that Sana has changed his, ghetto to the officer's mess. He wanted to inform me that I should not allow my plate to be delaying there, because this boy is a bad man. He can put anything for you in the plate. Since he was aware of our primary problem. But then already I have eaten this plate. So this is what led me to operation. And a surprising situation also happened. 4 days after my surgery, the doctor who treated me, I will thank him very much for saving my life. But he raised suspicion in my side as to his knowledge of this assassination. That was Dr. Tony. 4 days after the surgery, he advised me that patient is strong, patient can take bath.
Could you say again?
After 4 days, he said, patient is strong, patient can take bath. I said, take bath, pour water on my head. He said, yes. Then I said inside me, in my own thoughts, that you are late. If you have just got into this operation, the operation has reached you now, you would have finished me at the surgery. But now that I am on my bed, no, you cannot. Because since a day after my surgery, I advised my runner to go for my pistol. He brought my pistol, I cocked my pistol, put it in a nylon bag. I was lying down in the hospital with that pistol because I suspected that somebody might come to finish me. This is why when I was discharged from the hospital, I was able to go home with my firearm. I wouldn't have gone home with a firearm until my time of arrest.
And few days later, what happened?
Few days later, I was discharged 6 days later after that.
And then?
And then, on the 19th, there was this economic activity. The impasse was tense.
Yahya Jammeh lost elections?
You lose the elections since on the 1st December, I think.
And then it was Fankung Fankung?
Yes, if you call it Fankung Fankung, I will call it Sulawesi and Jambadon.
I do not know that one, definitely. Could you translate that?
But after all this, Council, we have spoken about the down settings in my performance. I have got areas in which I have also performed better to the interest of the people. If I am given the floor, I think I will.
So, soon after Yahya Jammeh fell from power, you were arrested.
Yes, sir.
And you are here.
Before that arrest, I have received many loved ones' advice that leave the country. I said, I'm not going to leave. One of them even asked me, why? It's like you are waiting for a job. I said, yes. It means you love your job. I said, why do you ask? He said, because you must love your job in order to be able to do your utmost. I said, no, in my institution, it is unfortunate. That is not the rule. It is a must to obey the order. So he said, I must leave. I said, no, I am not going to leave. He said, why? I said, because I don't want to betray my oath, and I will not betray my people. He said, you are going to betray. I said, I have seen it in the internet.
Well, Malik, let's call a spade a spade. You have betrayed your oath to protect the people.
I have not betrayed my oath. I was misled, sir.
Call it being misled, you would have a chance to explain that. But nonetheless, you were killing innocent civilians, correct?
That happened.
They were unarmed, correct?
They were unarmed, correct.
How you dealt with them was not a procedure established by law, correct?
Correct, but I have informed you that I'm not a legal man.
Yes, but you knew fully well that what you were doing was unlawful.
That is why I left.
But you knew it was unlawful.
Prior to doing it, I didn't know it. But when I knew that something wrong was taking place was the time I...
Knowing whether it was justified and knowing whether it was lawful are completely different things. You knew it was unlawful.
No, where I got it all wrong was, where I got lost, was when they mentioned a rebellion was cooking to be hatched. They were able to convince me.
Malik, you know as a soldier that you have no right to kill somebody who is not fighting.
At that age, as a lance corporal, I'm telling you, if you put this question to many subordinate soldiers today, that is why in my conclusion I have mentioned that the legal awareness of the soldier should be raised.
Malik, you do not even have to have training to know that you do not have a right to have a person handcuffed and you shoot the person at point-blank range without any lawful authority.
Sir, but look at the circumstances surrounding that. You are to do it, or if you don't do it, somebody will do it and you will be done.
But that has never happened, has it?
Like?
Do you know somebody who's been killed for not implementing the order?
When directors of NIA could be put into, assassination, when you don't know why he is even brought and the reasons.
Look, Daba Marena.
Yes.
Anko, you were there.
I was there.
You did not take part.
I did not take part.
Jeng did not take part.
Nyabali did not take part.
Nyabali did not take part.
Yes.
None of them was killed.
Daba Marena was not killed?
No, I am saying that when Daba Marena and 6 others were brought for execution, you were there, correct?
Yes.
You did not take part.
Yes.
Jeng did not take part.
Yes.
Nyabali did not take part.
Yes.
Others carried out the dirty job.
Yes, sir.
Nothing happened to you.
I am telling you that these boys followed my footsteps when I resisted, and that was a time I have chosen that I will not do this long job anymore.
What I am driving at is, from the first one,
yes, but look at what happened at the end of the day. I would have died.
From the first one, you should have stopped. You didn't. The second one, you should have stopped. You didn't. The third one, you should have stopped. You didn't. The fourth one, you should have stopped. You didn't.
In the presence of that order, that a rebellion, and in the face of the command and men who are ready to do the job.
Do you really regret what you have done?
Completely regret, and if I did not regret, I would not have repented. There is no meaningful repentance without regret, Fal. I'm sorry to call you by your surname.
It's all right. I can live with that. Thank you very much. You can wear your how do you call it?
There is no meaningful repentance without regret.
Yes.
It is with regret that will lead you to repentance.
But I also want you to understand and accept that what you have done was wrong, and you knew it was wrong.
I deeply accepted that. Deep in my heart, I'm totally traumatized. And that's why I told you that even my people sometimes, at a point in time, claim that I was short-tempered. I was not short-tempered. something was getting me to that. I was traumatized.
You accept what you did was wrong.
Totally wrong.
You accept it was illegal.
Completely illegal.
And you knew it was illegal.
Then I will not be able to tell you I knew it was illegal.
Was it
because of the pressure?
Was it because of the weed or the pressure?
Initially, I was under pressure, and with these influences of this, criticism I told you before, you would not see until you are cleared out of the criticism.
Mr. Chair, I have no further questions. Thank you for answering my questions.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Counsel, and thank you, Mr. Jatta, for your testimony and for coming to confess some to violations of human rights and abuses that you had committed and the ones that you had seen. Counsel or Commission members, if you have any questions, please proceed. Commissioner Samba, you have the floor, please.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, ma'am.
I want to ask a question. When Ndongo was shot, I didn't hear where you say that it was buried. So I wanted to know whether it was buried or not.
I have mentioned that the second time when we came there, I saw that big tree that I suspected was a dry tree. I realized that this was the place Ndongo was taken into the bush. But on that particular operation, the guys who were shot were put into a ditch. I suppose he was put into that ditch previously.
Okay, the second question is, those people who were gathered, 8 of them, were shot and then put in the well. Are they all dead before they put them in the well? Because sometimes you can shoot somebody and then it's not dead.
I wouldn't be able to confirm that because they were about nearly 5 to 7 or 8 meters away from me and it was dark. And it was a shrub, not a very thick bush, but in the night, when there is little leaves over, you will tend to be seeing the darkness, but you will not be able to know the movement.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I don't know if I have answered your question.
Thank you, Commissioner Jallo. Imam Jallo, you have the floor.
Witness, you vowed to be a very good soldier who will protect the interest of Gambians. But you have joined the band to kill Gambians without much thought. Now, there are still other people in the country who are saying that the TRC is fake, it is not just. I want to have your honest view. What do you really think? What do you have to tell these Gambian people who are saying that the TRC is not doing justice?
Thank you, sir. I wanted to include that in my remarks. But nevertheless, I will not give back to your question as it comes to me at this point in time. Gambians have been lost for a long time. My advice to the Gambian people will be that don't think about your individual interests. Let's think collectively. Somebody has suffered a pain somewhere. Me, I have spoken to the investigation team that despite the plight I have gone through, I will not lodge any complaint because what I have been put to destroy and damage in the Gambia was more than the plight I have experienced myself. So to do myself justice, my role is to serve my people. If I could not stop it at the time, I think this is the time I have got to, give the Gambian people a right. I'm sorry, I would advise all Gambian people to work towards a future, a better Gambia where our children can interact, where we can have unity, and forget about political interests, forget about tribal sentiments, forget about individual interests. Let them look at what was spoiled, and we have to agree that we are put to wrong and we have done wrong. That way you can be a complete human being. Me, out of this experience, I think this experience will craft me to be one of the best type of personnel on earth. I'm sorry if I have answered your question, I don't know.
You have not. The second part of the question is, what do you tell those people who are still in denial, saying that the TRC is just fake?
Well, it is natural.
Oh, no, I don't.
It is natural.
I can still do it.
It is natural that even the tongue and the teeth, they will have clash, but they reunite within the system of the human being when you don't know. I will ask those people to yearn for peace than festering wounds. And I'll advise them not to fester wounds. Let us all work towards the healing so that we can have a better Gambia. What they think was not going on, now the TRC has been able to reveal and unravel everything. I am here not to hide anything, including my own involvement. So at least if all Gambians can take it to themselves, if me who have been put to wrong, I'm able to stand here and declare and testify, tell the truth. Why you who has not gone into any wrong cannot see the light? I have spoken here and I did not extricate myself. If I said somebody has done and I was not a party, somebody will feel that maybe, yes, he's now incriminating somebody. But I said that I was put into. And all of this is because of one person's misrule. I will like and respect a leadership that will help your subjects to grow, but not a leadership that will mess with the #1 resources of the state, because the human rights resource, the human resource is the #1 resource of the state. No matter whatever development you bring us, if there are no human beings, development is no more valid. So now, let's look forward to a better Gambia, a united Gambia, and a reconciled Gambia. If the Commission is setting its goals on this direction, it's only when you have your own personal sentiment, different from a human sentiment, that you will say, yes, these people are not on the right track. But God says, forgive. Forgive if you know it's better. I am in this place. I am not happy of being here to talk. But I quote from the Quran, Surah Al-Hadid, that no calamity will befall on earth or in your souls without it being written in our decree of books, in our books of decree. He said it in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 42. Don't mix the truth with falsehood. When you already know it is the truth. My being in the service is not to work, not to have my hereafter. I am very interested in my hereafter. But in as much as I am to do my job, somebody is responsible of directing me. And somebody is supposed to tell me, this is the threat of the state. This is what you are supposed to do with that man. And he is responsible of the law to apply it in the way he wants at the time. This is where I got it all wrong and I regret it. I regret it and I ask for everybody's forgiveness. And I pray to God that He provide us with genuine leadership and honest leadership so that our wounds can heal. If I have answered your question, I don't know still. Sir.
I want you to tell me about people who are denying and saying that maybe even what you are saying right here now is not true. What would you tell those people?
They have their own concept, different from national interests. I will look right into their eyes and tell them that you have your own concept because you were not there. I was there, and here I am speaking. I'm telling you that this was going on, and it happened in this way. If you have not been there and you don't believe because you have not been there and you are not aware, now that you have had it, you should now change and take a different course. To be honest to yourself. Did I answer your question, sir? I'm sorry.
Thank you. Commissioner Kinte, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Jatta.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Initially, yesterday you told us you got involved in 3 missions. That took you by surprise. The first one was the capture of, was it Dauda Nyasi?
Dauda Nyasi, yes.
Who was killed around the airport.
Airport, of course.
That one, Tumbul set the pace, and you people were asked to follow suit.
Yes, sir.
Which you did. The second time, it was when you took someone to the bushes, and Sana pulled the guy out. That was Ndongo Bob, and was shot. That may also have taken you by surprise. The third time, you found yourself trapped in an operation. That one also, Tumbul led the pace, shot, and asked you to, he didn't shoot, sorry, he was driving, but asked all the 3 of you to shoot, which you did.
This order was shoot.
Yes, the order was given you shoot. There were people behind, whether they shot, they gave any shot or not, you could not tell. But the car was rampantly shot, killing 1 person and seriously injuring 2 others. At the end of that operation, the first 2, you did not tell us you had any monetary benefits. But the third one, you admitted that the amount of money you were given, if you know the time and the conversion of the dollar to dollars, you had received about $2,000 those days. Yes, about $2,000. You said you didn't know how much, but when you changed, it was you earned
a little bit above 50,000.
Yeah. Then the dollar was only 20-something, 24, 25 or so. So that's why I said around $2,000 you received. At this material time, and you said you had come to your senses that you are getting involved in something that was wrong. What prevented you from using that money? Because you now had a window. You had enough money to go out to live with some money with your family, if you had any immediate responsibilities on your family. And you also had enough money to have allowed you to leave the Gambia and abscond and save yourself. Why did you stay? That's my first question.
At this time, I'm sorry, sir, it was not in my mind at this time. Maybe due to my lack of plans then. But I thought that I would still serve better to vindicate myself of these activities in another aspect. So I decided to request a removal from the patrol team where I can serve better in another unit. But along this, money that is given to a poor man who already is having problems and the economical problems will not stand, because there are always already holes that are waiting for the money. I will not tell you it was a big money to me, because what happened is that then I did not even build a house. So I used that money to build a small mud house where I can accommodate myself and my family. But it could not complete it. I had to, because then before my going to patrol team, I was farming cassava. There may be people here from my home village who can attest to that. I will farm 2 farms, 2+. So I added that money to that to make sure that I was able to build that house and accommodate the family and myself. But it was not part of my plans then to leave. This plan of leaving came to me around 2008, 2009 was the time I got this mind that I should leave.
Meaning your conscience has already told you that what you were doing is
wrong.
But you still insisted to continue because, well, you had personal gains or interests along the way.
Nay, you are getting me wrong, sir. You are getting me wrong, I think. If I may come up, sir.
Yeah, come.
I was not, interested to be working in the team. That's why I said to the commander, remove me from the team. I expected that if he removed me from the team, he would put me in another subunit which will have a different function than the patrol team.
Yeah, but you've told us you could stay at home for 2 years, Awal, without problem.
That was when I was completely fed up.
Yeah, but
because I waited for the command to, act in what I advised them. I'm not happy with this. Because you told us this, in the next minute it was that. So in that waiting for the command's action, because in the service, I don't know whether you have service experience or not. In the service, you cannot take in your leadership in making a decision before your commander. In the military, orders are rigid. So actually, when you find yourself in certain situations, you will have to tactically work it out, or else you may break in it.
Yeah, but what you have told me is that you are a trained commando, which indicates that if you wanted to abscond, it was going to be the easiest for you than anyone else as a trained commando.
Nay. You don't understand me. Then, the only place I have been on mission was only Guinea-Bissau. A trained commando doesn't mean that I have gone outside to train, outside. I was trained in my own home country as a commando. But I was not trained for absconding. All the training of a commando is centered on 3 different topics that are different from the normal soldier. These were raid, infiltration, and rescue. But it has nothing to do with absconding.
Okay. Jatta, you still had a second chance when you went on a mission. When you went on a mission outside the Gambia, you were already outside the borders of the Gambia.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it have been justice to this community, the Gambian people, that you abscond thereof and denounce what was happening in the Gambia?
Which mission you mean, UNAMID?
You had the opportunity to abscond and denounce what was happening in the Gambia, and you did not.
I'm sorry, sir. UNAMID for troops, your entitlement in the field was only $38 per month. Taking that $38 per month to abscond, those areas are volatile areas. I may end up my life where I do not want to end it up. The same reason why I did not run after the takeover, change of regime. I'm very sorry. I know how much touched you are by these operations and these, illegal killings. I'm very sorry. But actually, that's why I said the decree of Allah, nobody can pass it. Because we may have the good consent, but if Allah does not write it in that way, you cannot make it happen. But actually, my testimony here, I don't mean to fester wounds or to set somebody apart. I'm very sorry for anything I have been involved into. And I apologize. Mr. Kinte, I am very sorry. We may all be human beings, but our thoughts may be different at the same time. What comes to my mind at my own level may be different. You may be having an intellectual mind, I may be having a mediocre mind at a time. We need to be improving along the time. The Jatta speaking with this experience today was not the Jatta of the last couple experience. I have passed through sessions that prepared me to reach this point, especially when I went for the leadership course. That's where I get the chunk of my preparation. I was then a lance corporal, and then the training I have undergone then were all combat. In the army, the slogan is that the way is inducing the men to believe in what the command believes. I thank God he is able to show me at a point in time that what you are doing is wrong. And what you are being put into is wrong. Although it was wrong that I chose to leave, it's never my intention to get into this. And nobody will ever pray to God you get into such. Because it's never Gambian culture to be involved in killings. I am very sorry for anything. If I have not answered your question, please, sir.
Thank you very much. If you have any concluding remarks to make, please proceed to do so now. But before that, just one quick question. When you went to Darfur, was that for UN peacekeeping?
Yes,
was
sir.
that after you had participated in killings and assassinations?
It was
or
well after that.
Before?
Already I have gone out.
But you had already killed some people before going to the UN?
Already, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Who? Imam C, you have the floor, please.
Jërëjëf Jatta.
Thank you, Jatta,
Ci li nga jéggalu ak ci li nga dawut.
for your apology and the fact that you did not run away.
maa ngi lay laaj kii Daouda Niasse bi ngeen ko demee jëli.
I want to ask you about Dauda Nyasi when you went out to pick him up.
moom dafa am ñi leen ko jog wala moom moo génnee boppam ngeen jot ko.
Was he handed over to you or did you went in to fetch him for yourselves?
ñaareel bi itam.
Secondly,
italien ki leen doon jàngal affaire rey nit.
the one that was teaching you how to kill people,
italien boobu moom ban façon la leen doon jàngal ci naka la ñuy reyee nit.
that Italian, how was he teaching you in the manner which you killed people?
ci fetal la wala ci comme ay yeneen façon.
Was it through the gun or other means?
Thank you very much, Imam. The first question is Dauda Nyasi, when we picked him, whether he was called upon or he brought himself. I think that was what he means, if there is an interpreter.
ndax dafa am ku leen ko jóg dafa am feneen fu mu nekkoon ñoom ñoo leen ko jóg wala moom moo indi boppam.
Whether he was handed over to you or whether he came out on his own accord to you people.
Dauda Nyasi, we saw him coming from behind the logs where we believe it was a sawmill because logs were piled there. But Tumbul was communicating on the phone. And these are the areas that prompted my suspicion that the former president was cryptic and he was hypnotizing. He may work on you until you yourself turn on him and then do whatever he wants to do to you. Because if Dauda knows that he was going to be killed, he would not have come peacefully and reported himself to be picked on the vehicle, taken to somewhere to be killed. Tumbul was talking on the phone, but when he was talking to Dauda Nyasi, I did not know. But he came by himself from behind the piles. That is why I suspected that he could have been an agent of information. That would have served as combatly vitality, because he was not armed. So looking at the circumstances, it is indicative something was forcing him to come. Either he is connected to somebody or he must have been under the influence of something. I hope I did answer your question. With the second question of Francis Kakaso, I have mentioned that I have never undergone a jungler training. Francis Kakaso was training the junglers, I was a commando. I don't know what was his standard of training and what he was using to train the men. Did I answer your question, sir? Man defuma training junglers ak Francis Kakaso. Man Libyan ni ñoma train fi training commando course.
I did not have any jungler training with Francisco Caso. I was trained as a commando by the Libyans.
Francis Kakaso lu mu doon di jàngal ñi dina am ñi nga xam ne ñooñu def nañ koosam maybe suñ ñëwee fii suñ paree waa dëgga comme man nu ma paree waa dëgga fii dinañ leen mun a waxal lan mooy seen mandarga time boobu noonu.
Francisca Caso, the people that he trained, if they come here and they are willing to speak the truth, just as I did, they would be able to explain exactly the kind of training.
May I announce to the Commission that the next witness who is to take this stand this afternoon is one such person who did the jungler training and would be able to explain what the training entailed. Thank you.
Thank you, Council, for that clarification. You may now proceed, please, with your closing remarks, Mr. Jatta.
Mr. Counsel, lead counsel, and councillors, commissioners, and all other protocols duly observed, I'm saying good afternoon, sir. First, I thank Allah, the Almighty, the current national leadership, the Commission, the entire Commission, and all stakeholders that might have contributed to the making of this great gathering possible. I pray to Allah that He make our positive national dreams come true. And I hope we have a reconciled Gambia, we have a united Gambia where our children can interact and work towards the achievement of their goals as set by their parents in their intention. After accepting and revealing all the wrongs I have been put to by our former regime head, that was the former president and the Corps, I kindly seek the consent of the entire Commission, Mr. Chairman, to lay down my personal observation and the way forward. But first, I will seize this opportunity to ask for a forgiveness, an entire forgiveness, if I can have it from the Gambian people. And I promise, while I ask for this forgiveness, that the experience I have passed through would be able to turn me to be a perfect man. I'm aware that, my performance in the army have caused so many pain and damage, but this would not have been possible if the leadership was there to support me in my intention. I feel I am protected into this employed duly, maybe by the leadership's misleading and deception. So being the case, I would say I am very sorry. And I promise that I will never get into such human rights violations in my career anymore. I will not hesitate to say sorry to any person that I have been involved in violating his personal human rights. We need to come together. We need to reconcile. We need to look for a future that may be better collectively. I will not say we forget the past, but let's forgive. For nothing is more difficult than losing a loved one. And nobody can justify the loss of a loved one to an individual, especially when it is done in the wrong way. I have been put on it. I regret it. I did everything possible to make sure I get, I escape from the future involvements. But at points where I could not survive it, I had to go. Nevertheless, it was the condition of service that had to put me to accept. But with all this, I am saying a very big sorry, and I'm looking forward to your forgiveness. We in the army are not your enemies. We can have a very good law, but if the custodian of the law is corrupt and the custodian of the law is bent on individual interests, I am sorry, the conduct of the security forces is bound not to be correct. And as a nutshell, we all know that our constitution is a genuine constitution, but when it comes to the leadership to implement and apply it on people, there have been situations where the constitution used to be amended. We have all passed through the era. Gone are those days. Let's open a new page, and I'm saying I'm sorry that I was, picked from the genuine society to be placed in genuine society by virtue of service conditions. But I'm not supposed to be the type of person who have been serving the Gambian people in that way. My service would have been of genuine cause. Nevertheless, it is said in Surah Al-Hadid that no misfortune, I have said it here, no misfortune will befall your souls or on earth without it being written in the books of Allah's decree. I am a human being, I am not perfect. And I will not deny that I have been put to gross human rights violations. This uniform I am putting on is your uniform. It's a uniform that I put on to serve the people. If I get it all wrong, I admit that I get it all wrong. My testimony here, I feel, is an accomplishment of my oath of allegiance. The command never used to tell me to explain until when the order comes that explain the people need this. I have to. Military is a different field from all other institutions. In military, we operate by orders, and orders in the military is reference to a superimposed instruction on a subordinate that he could not turn down at the time. There are rules which could be part of the customs and traditions of military. What happens in the field, stays in the field, is something I have mentioned during my statement. Rule number 1 says the senior man is ever correct. When he is wrong, refer him to rule number. Whenever he is wrong, refer him to rule number 1. That is the rule number 2. Again, there are 2 levels of performance in military. This I have not dealt with the council, lead council. That is the strategic level, and you have the tactical level. Each of these levels have got a responsibility in the conduction of an order. The strategic level will make decisions, decide what will happen by conduct of the forces. And at the tactical level, your responsibility is to implement the order that comes through the chain of command to you. So at certain times, we the subordinates in the army will find ourselves in a very critical position like I am today. Why? Because the army is a violent institution in charge of arms and ammunition. And arms and ammunition is what can make a whole life or a generation messed in a second. Well, with the strategic level, as I have explained, are responsible of making decisions and setting the drive or the course and the directives. When we are at the bottom, we take and implement orders. When I was in the team, I was not a lieutenant. Today, I am trained to pick up my orders. But yesterday, I was there to implement the order. So I will not hesitate to say sorry to anybody that I have wronged in the past. It has happened by God's decree, but I wouldn't choose to shoot even a chicken at my own time. For I have been sleeping home with my rifle, but I never shot even a chicken without order. Those of our Gambian population who are saying whether the former president gave instruction or not, I am telling you that we are here to tell you that he was the commander-in-chief, and he has a responsibility according to our laws. The people voted him into power, and he was vested with the powers to take directives, and he was vested with the power to protect the people through his leadership. That is why we vote him there. In all of this, the government is a wide setup, but all of us have to answer to his directives. If we did something wrong yesterday and we are here today, we are not picked since then until today, then I think we are liberated from a situation that we need to tell each other the truth. Having said it and given it, I think I give it out in the interest of my country. Whatever is next, after that, I give it to God. For he said in the Quran that, never cheat the truth, since you know it is the truth. Testify to your utmost, even if the testimony is to be included you and leave everything in the hands of Allah. Well, with my observation, I have mentioned about the subordinate position being critical, and I have said about the order. I pray to God that God give us a genuine leadership and an honest leadership. Otherwise, we may find it difficult to get this repetition, not to happen. But I will advise all Gambians to look properly before we are to give our votes to anybody now that we have got democracy. And let's try to think positive. Let's try to be forgiving, please. Because mistakes, when they happen, it's better to learn from somebody's mistake than to learn from your own mistake, because sometimes it may be too late. With recommendations that I would like to put forward, Mr. Counsel, in the Army, as per my observation since my enlistment into the Army, I would say the skills training for secondment is something important for soldiers. Because when a soldier is serving and he is not having a hope of making a life, if he is to be out of the service, this may subject him to obey all type of orders, even whereas he knows it is wrong or it's right. So I recommend that, we introduce general skill training for secondment in the Army to all soldiers. The battalion training program, routine training programs are dead since the inception of the Jammeh's suspicion of those multiple coups. He has put a halt to all these battalion, routine training programs. This has yielded to soldiers, involvement, too much involvement into political activities. But if the battalion routine programs, training programs are running, the soldier would not have time for political discussions. Each time he goes to work, he will be engaged from the morning to the time he is going to close, and at the end of the day, even if he closes and go home, he wouldn't have the time to be on political platforms. Again, with the leadership of my institution and the entire security components of the Gambia, my observation, according to my observation, I may get it all wrong, but I think it is the entire security components of the Gambia that all contributed to this failure, because it was strongly coordinated that even if you have a problem somewhere and you want to fix it from another angle, you will knock and still find the door closed as per the way where you have left to solve your problem. Our leadership in the security has to give an ear to their subordinate. I will advise the leadership, the national leadership, to try at all costs periodically to be listening to the subordinates directly if they can create a platform in which the national leadership can get information directly from the subordinate servants, like private soldiers coming upwards. Because why I am saying this, each time we have a DOBA is a session in which the senior command will have to be meeting the junior command, but each time it is to take place, most of the time, there are intermediate ranks that will advise the subordinates that you have to know what to say. And if that happens, the right problem may be obstructed from reaching the right person. As a result, it will yield to nothing other than frustration of subordinates. When a soldier is frustrated, he may be tempted or opted to do something that he may not even know the danger of or the outcome of. Next to that, I have also mentioned about the criticism. This is the main problem the Gambia has got. I believe many Gambian brains have been hypnotized. That is a belief in me. We have seen so many types of charities that were never expected from a Muslim. We were working under a leader that we think we know, but we did not know him. He was a disguise. I used to believe him when he picked the Quran and said, I am a Muslim. But at the end of the day, when I get close to him in the system, I come to realize that he may be better than Pharaoh only by a bit. Sorry to quote it in this way. And I will point that point where he may be better than Pharaoh. That is where Pharaoh said, I am a god. That's the area where he can be better than Pharaoh. But apart from that, if you think about any other, activities of Firaona, they are all be fitting in this disguised man. People, I am surprised, are glorifying him up to now. Fine. If he has brought development, I would say yes, he has brought development, but equate that development with the destruction. And here we are today. Somebody will say yes, because he has failed. He is talking like that. No problem. I know God is a witness, and he knows the inner of you, the individual, and my inner most. But I only pray to God that our future as a Gambia becomes united, our future goals of reconciliation come true, and our dreams come true. We live together, and we get our children to live in the proposed dreams that we are having that are positive, so that we can forget the past, and we can heal, and we can live as a people, and then we see a better Gambia that is well developed and peaceful still. At this point in time, I would not choose to go further. I thank everybody once more, and I will conclude again by saying I'm very sorry, and I will not hesitate to kneel down before anybody who was affected by virtue of my service conditions in which I was put to offend and create these human rights violations. I'm sorry, and I don't think I will ever get involved in such things. From this point, I think, having gone through all this and getting all this experience, I will be one of the best people in the world. I thank you all. It is not easy to speak. If I have spoken the wrong thing, I am very sorry. If I get it well, then it is God doing. I thank you all as a nation.
Thank you very much indeed. And we hope that you never come back to this kind of experience again. We will take a 1 hour break and come back at 3:15. It's okay. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Sadio watal de yamna ka dam do mi re fana manyi bondi wol saw ka manjara moy jakal
nyimba na salo ni lafta leyango la isa soto nin sila taringo minna wolom balwo siloti ka kuma ko ilong ila kuoto alte la website oto www.balwo.com wala aliela app download baramanda nyinda mala anim balwo alse mano sanno sukuro tulo anim fen jama balwo wala efisia ka kodo kina
fanay Sadio watal de yamna ka dam do mi re fana manyi bondi wol do
ke poeti ama kiba diva bodu lay dam male